It's a kind of a grey, overcast day here in Johannesburg, and I'm about to get on a plane and head for Cape Town. But before I do so, I think it's important to set the tone for what might just be one of South Africa's greatest races in many, many years. I'm referring to the Lomeran's King's Plate. And why are we standing here with Frank and Cormo, who's our head groom of 21 years, and a horse called Glass Wing, who himself is a son of Trippy, and he's a half-brother to Casimir, former champion equus sprinter from the Snaith stable. Now, they sent to post a horse by the name of Jet Dark, who is the reigning Lomeran's Queen's Plate victor. In fact, he's won it in the last 2 consecutive years. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could become the first horse in the history of the race to win the Lomeran's Queen's Plate twice and then the King's Plate. But I think it's very important for us to be realistic about his chances, even though the race is run at weight for age scale, and he gives 5 kilograms to his younger superstar counterpart. And we refer to a guy by the name of Charles Dickens, who, of course, we've all had great expectations, and he's delivered in no uncertain terms. He hails from the Candace Bass Robinson stables and will run in the colours of Gaynor Rupert and the Drakenstein stud. And then to add even more fuel to that fire, we've got a horse called Tripper Fortune, himself a son of Trippy. So it is not completely impossible that the sons of Trippy run 1, 2 and 3 in the 2023 renewal of the Lomeran's King's Plate. Well, Al, it's a far cry from Marshall Eagle days where the joy in your face is something that is etched in my memory forever. And I've seen so much joy, not least of all with Clouds Unfold, standing at the rail there. But this is different. This is something out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I think from the first time I ridden this horse, I always said that he's something different, and I think there was a lot of people I needed to convince, but I don't think I need to convince anyone else anymore. I'm convinced that he is, and yeah, it's just something about him that's really special, you know. And I do still believe that we need to give him the opportunity to become a great horse. I think a lot of people are putting the expectations a little bit high on him at the moment, and I think it's a little bit unfair, but I do think he's going to become a great horse, you know. And like I say, there's something about him that most don't have, and I think if we allow him to finish and become the horse I think he can become, I think we're going to see something special. And as I said, I think it's going to be etched at the end of my career as one of the highlights, or if not the highlight of it all.
I got a message from Mrs. Rupert the other day about the naming of Charles Dickens, and there's some fantastic books that go along with Charles Dickens, not least of all Great Expectations. It's all so apt that such a great horse should have such a great name.
No, definitely. Everything just seems to flow quite nicely, you know, and as you see him here in the morning, he just flows by and does his thing, and he does it so effortlessly, you know, and I think that's the thing about him. Everything is effortless. If you actually look at it on paper, it's a lot that you're asking for a 3-year-old, especially going up against champions, you know. So Comité Ding and Jet Dark, they're July winners. They've done everything that is to be done, and they're 5, 6 years old respectively, and they're tough, and they're probably at their physical peak in a sense that they can't get any stronger than what they are at the moment. So if this was were to come along at 3 years old and were to win a race like this in their sort of company, then we exactly know where we stand, you know. So regardless of what happens, I know he's a champion and he's going to go on to do great things. So at least for a really exciting weekend, and nice to have horses like that around still, so we can really see what this is really about. Because wherever he runs this weekend, it's just going to leave room for more and more improvement. So at 2 years old, I think he's still going to furnish into something spectacular.
I was chatting to Mike de Kock because I think few would argue that he is in the best position to discuss greatness, because we all know that horse Chestnut, the way he won the Met, he was truly great. The way he won the Guineas was truly great. But the reality is that Mike de Kock, when I stopped interviewing him, said to me that Aldo Domeyer rode this horse like you ride a motorbike. He came to the outside rail, he squeezed him, the acceleration was instantaneous.
Hey boy! I think we've got a decent bunch of 3-year-olds around at the moment, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Mr. Cottonsworth takes his spot up in the Met, because I think he'll be a massive runner at bottom weight. But yeah, back to this horse. It wasn't an easy race to win the Guineas, simply because of what you say. I think there was a lot of traffic in the race. We had to kind of make up quite a bit of ground, but he wanted to be where he wanted to be, and I just had to trust him that day, and from there just give him a smooth run home, and I knew he was going to pick it up once I allowed him to do that.
Okay, so we know he's the best 3-year-old. But if you want to be the best horse in the country, if you want to be the Equus Horse of the Year, you have to beat the best. And there's no argument in anybody's mind that Jet Dark is the best older miler that we've seen for a long time. You don't win 2 Queen's Plates back to back. You don't win a Champions Cup back to back and run second with top weight in the July. He is a special horse.
No, definitely. I've galloped him before as well. I've been fortunate enough to sit on him, and he's a really smart horse. And like I say, physically, he's had the time to be as strong as he can possibly be. And we're coming in with a young 3-year-old who's now taking Jet Dark on in his backyard and in his territory. But I do think this horse is something different, and it'll be interesting to see. I've got a lot of respect for Jet Dark, and I'm not going to go out there and just say that he's going to be some sort of pushover, because I think he's proven that he's not, and he himself has had a great career. So I just want to see where we are with this guy, because if this guy can take on at 3 years old with quite a bit of room for improvement still to come, then we know exactly where we stand, and that really excites me.
To put the lid on it, Aldo, there's a fantastic American movie called If It Was Easy, Everyone Would Do It. And Jerry Bailey makes the point in one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen. If you could just rock up to the jockey's room and get on your horse and ride him like you ride work, it would be so easy. But because it's a weight for age race, you are required to get down to a weight of 55 kilograms, which is never easy. But at the end of the day, Andrew Fortune, your father, has done this. He's become the champion jockey of South Africa. He's staying with you. I don't know whether he's eating you out of house and home, but at the end of the day, I'm sure you know that the guts and the determination and the discipline required to get down to that weight is not easy.
Yeah, listen, I think about 5-6 weeks ago I was at about 63.5, and
Hello, trouble. Hello, trouble. Hello, trouble.
You don't even dream of coming across horses like this. You want to ride good horses, but this is just something else. And beginning of the season, it looked like my career was hanging in the balance because of injuries that was on the horizon, and things just wasn't clicking. And here comes this horse, and he gives me that a little bit of hope and tells me, listen, if you're not going to fight, at least fight for me. And Jesus, yeah, I am. And he's just made me hang on for a little bit longer, and thank God he did that.